always been the land. Someone who always can. Don't you know? Robito! I cannot believe this. 16 weeks of Wassup Flobo After Hours. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. We're talking Facebook, we're talking YouTube, and we're definitely talking Twitch. If you're on Twitch right now, hit subscribe. This is the show we hang out, we lounge, we talk about what's going on in the world around us. It's me, hanging with your boy Flobito, but I am not alone. I'm being joined by an inspiration. This person here has done so much in her 20 plus years. I didn't ask how old she is. I think she's 23. I ain't trying to assume anything. That I am just inspired of what she's going through. She is my prima de contest. Give it up for Leslie Colon. How you doing?
What a great introduction. Wow. I need to be on here more often. That put me up. How are you?
I am good. It's been a long time. I think you were on my podcast, 20 weeks ago? Literally 20 weeks ago. And it's still the most downloaded episode of my podcast ever, which means your peoples love you because no one else has any other episode. So I'm glad you're back.
Thank you for having me. Doing Amsterdam was really fun. If you haven't watched it, guys, make sure you watch that episode. You get to talk. You see kind of my story before I started this new series, and now I am here. So every time I listen back to it, I'm like, wow, I am proud of myself.
So let's talk about that. Like the channel's now official. It's YouTube / Leslie, right? Let's go on. And now Cafe Corn Leslie. New content, barista action. There's coffee. There's drinks. There's beverages. Talk to me through how that must feel for you right now.
It feels great, honestly. It was a roller coaster. Let me tell you that.
Tell me all about it.
You were actually part of that roller coaster in the first couple of episodes. It took me a bit to really. Technology apparently is not my friend, and I struggled with that. Now that I'm up and running, I'm doing an episode every week, except for my birthday week. I took a little break. I had to party. I did just turn 23, so
called
I
it
had to
and
celebrate.
Party where? Where'd you party? It was a pandemic.
At my house with my family.
Got
That's
it.
You don't need to have a big party to party with Leslie. I mean, it is what it is.
I walked right into that one.
I know.
So that must be cool though, like having your own network that is already humming so much that you're like, no, guys, I'm going on a break. It's my birthday. I only turned 23 once. Huh?
Yeah, you only turn any age once, but for me, I have to celebrate every time. Like if I only turn it once, which I do. If that.
How do you are you karaoke? Do you dance? Do you stuff your face?
A lot of food. So we did a carne asada. Carne asada is always big in my culture, so we had a little carne asada, a couple of drinks, tres leches cake, because that's my favorite. And then aside from that, just a couple of drinks here and there, and we danced to good music. And you don't have to have a big party. Again, it was just like my immediate family and myself, and it was just nice to be with everyone. And thanks, Haywood. I see you all the time. I appreciate you. What
is Leslie Colon's drink of choice?
Oof. Okay. So I'm not much of a drinker. Let me tell you this.
Fair enough. So, no judgments here, Leslie. I'm not like, oh, really?
But if beer is probably my go-to. I stick with my Mexican beer, so Corona, Modelo. Kind of the normal, the usual. It's always Modelo time with my family.
Is it like a cultural thing? Like I gotta defend my people? Like I'm going that, or just Mexican beer is that much better?
I think the second one. I'm not going to argue. I don't know a lot about beer, so I don't want to open that argument. But I think it's just kind of like a traditional thing. And then I like it personally. I don't like strong beer.
Fair enough. Because so in 1703, right, Mount Gay rum was invented. It's the first rum in the world. It's the rum that invented rum. So it is from Barbados, where my parents are from. So I make it an effort to drink that one because of the people.
Okay.
I still think it tastes great, but even that island has Cockspur, it has Foursquare, it has 1966, but I drink Mount Gay because it's the classic brand. I'm not trying to push in the corner, Lindsay. It's not the kind of show. Gotcha.
It's good to know. But aside from that, tequila, of course, but straight. no mixing drinks because I feel like that gets to me more. So I just take straight shots.
Do
Don
you
Julio is my favorite.
have you tried the rocks tequila yet? Toremana?
No,
I can't find
that
that. I think it's in Bevmo, but I can't find it yet.
really, I haven't even tried the Bella's wine. I'm not much of a wine drinker, anyways, but I definitely want to try the Bella's wine because if you guys don't know, I am a huge Bella fan. I mean, it's kind of obvious.
Yeah, so you covered Total Bellas and you had Brian Santos on one of your Cafe Con Leslie shows, and
Mm-hmm.
I just like the fact that of all the people in AfterBuzz Wrestling Ho, like you two are all about the Bellas, man. It just blows my
We
mind.
are. I think
Blows
that's
my
why we
mind.
got along so well. We just, I don't know, it's something about the Bellas that I just love them. They motivate me. They're my inspiration. And coming soon, if you guys missed, oh, breaking news. Here we go. If you
Breaking
guys,
news. Wait, hold on. Proceed.
okay. If you missed the Total Bellas after show, we might have a little comeback, but it's not a comeback if it's not on Cafe con Leslie. Let me know who you want to see, but some of your favorite people are going to come back.
Wow, breaking news on What's Up
Yeah.
Flobo After Hours. I am getting that Emmy like that. So what's left for you to do for Cafe Con Leslie? I mean, I think it's pretty cool that you are sitting with people, having beverages. I actually am drinking Throat Coat because I broadcasted video games all weekend, so my voice is like shredded. But like what is like the next stage for your channel, and what do you plan to do with it?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I definitely want to go that next step. Recently, I was working a job that literally took most of my day, so I never really had time to reach out to guests, to people that I really want to have on my channel. For example, like Latin influencers who I really look up to, who are really paving the way for our generation. You know, there's a lack of representation when it comes to both Mexican Americans, so we're always in the middle, and you're
Right.
seeing that now, especially with influencers. So I would love to reach out to influencers. One example, I don't know if you know of him, is Louis Castro. Like, he literally started making YouTube videos, and now he's like has his own clothing line. He's on Univision, and like that's a huge thing. So I would love to have conversations with him. Also, I want to practice, do more interviews in Spanish, and I do want to practice my questions in Spanish and stuff like that, which it is coming soon. I will be interviewing a couple more regional Mexican artists, which is really cool because I grew up with that music. So kind of just taking that next step to really reach out to, I don't know, influencers, musicians, like anyone out there who I feel like I have a connection with, and just to start something new and to really go take that next step and bring Cafe con Leslie to a whole other level.
Oh yeah, that just rolls off the tongue, and you're bilingual, but for me, it always seems like you always hesitate doing stuff in Spanish. Is it because of is it because of different accents? Like what's been the biggest thing there?
So I struggle a lot because there is a little bit of insecurity with my Spanish, in the sense of like, when you're born and raised here in the United States, you lose that. You learn a different type of Spanish as compared to someone who was born and raised in Mexico and Colombia and anywhere like that. So my Spanish is different. I don't say the right words, and I can't, like, my mom has to correct me. It's not that it's bad, but it's not on a professional level. It's completely different. So I do hesitate. I would always get nervous, which is, that's why there was always like that hesitation. When I do an interview in Spanish, I'm always nervous. I always tend to like prepare more. When I do the English episodes of Cafe con Leslie, it's more natural. I feel it's more free. It's more of just a conversation like you and I have. But when it comes to interviews in Spanish, I feel like I have to structure it more in case I overthink it too much, if that makes sense.
Sure. No, it means a lot. Yeah, I get that.
And I feel like a lot of us, again, who were born here but have such a strong cultural presence within our family and grew up in a Latin household, you feel insecure sometimes. That's why you see a lot of people who don't even try to speak Spanish and they just stick to English because it's really hard. And not only that, I feel like sometimes you get a lot of judgment from your own family. So it's really hard to put myself out there in the sense of like, I'm going live, I'm recording an interview with someone, but I've kind of learned to ignore those comments and just be me and just let it go.
It's interesting because like there is the bilingual dynamic, but my parents and family is from an English speaking country, but it's the same thing, you know, like my patois is terrible. Like I can't do the accent. And I sometimes when I sit there with other Caribbean people, I hesitate and I go,
Mm-hmm.
well, I was born here my entire life, and it's a little unrelated, but like my formative years when I was like 14, I had a falling out with my extended family. So I didn't the years where I
Yeah.
went back and like learn, I didn't. And so it became like this giant fear. Like, do I even go back? Will I even be
Mm-hmm.
accepted? I mean, when I'm here, everyone's like, "Where you're from?" But when I'm there, it's like you're American.
Exactly.
I've been
Yes.
quite with the language barrier, but I could totally relate to that. But it's really good shout out to Derek Fisher and Haywood Wong and Charlene in the chat hanging. They love the fact you're on the show. I'm telling you, man, Leslie equals ratings, dude. That's all we ever. Before I move on to the next topic, I want to say that what's up, Flobo? After Hours is brought to you apart by Clipper Rex. Look, man, I got a beard. And if you're part of Beard Gang, you want to make sure your beard is looking on point. Do me a favor, hit up clipperrex.com. Use the promo code Flobo to get a discount. It's all natural ingredients. Talking about supporting West Indian Caribbean businesses, clipperrex.com. Tell them Flobo sent you. Get yourself a discount. Now, talking about peoples upon peoples, you told me before the show started, your mom is actually watching this live.
Yeah, my mom, shout out to my mom. She's like my biggest supporter. She's always reposting everything. Para mi mamá, si estás viendo esto, te aprecio mucho, te quiero mucho. Gracias por siempre apoyarme en todo lo que estoy haciendo. Literally, always repost everything. I don't know, it was a couple Mondays ago where I didn't post the episode of Café con Leslie right away on Facebook, and then she texted me right away, did you not have a new episode? Because I haven't seen you post it yet. And I was like, yes, it was coming. I'm sorry, I'm at work. Like, I'll post it soon. And she's like, okay, just wondering, just making sure, because you always post it every Monday, and I just want to make sure. And my mom, bless her soul, like she understands English, and she's on Duolingo right now, like to make her English better. So I'm just like, I'm so proud of her because she's
well, let's make her feel at home. Here's Dylan says to Miss Colon, Mrs. Colon. ¿Cómo se, es mi palabra de hambre. It's like su hija Leslie es una persona brillante. So gracias. So cool. Your mom tunes into the show. That's really awesome.
Yeah,
my mom doesn't watch my stuff. She doesn't watch my stuff.
Really? My mom's always like, before this, when I was promoting it, she's like, congratulations on your interview with your primo. She's like, I love it.
My prima Leslie. Yeah. My mom would watch What's Up Flobo Classic, like the vlog, because it's like 10 minutes. But this one, she's like, yeah, I get kind of bored. And I'm like, ow. Mama, no.
Yeah.
But that's so cool because I always felt like, when we're jumping off, especially for people like us, so people of color, I guess is the way we say it now. There's always this drive to put your head down and get a real job, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And so when we decide to go the creative route, it's almost a rolling the die to see who would support you in that. And so when you got your immediate family, at least your mom, like that's like you're bound by blood, being like, "You go, girl." That's like the warms the heart, man. That's awesome.
I can definitely relate to that in the sense of like my extended family was always like, sure, like you want to be on TV? Okay, sure. But it was always my immediate family, like my mom and my siblings. They're always there for me. And they never told me, no, don't do it. It was always like, yeah, keep going, keep going. And I feel like I have to, us as creators, and especially being in this industry, we have to sacrifice so much, especially being in LA. It's so expensive, and financially, I think we can all relate to that. But to have such a strong support system, I am so blessed to say that because I couldn't be here without their support. It's not easy, let me tell you that, especially I've had to learn to ignore those comments from like extended family members of like, oh, it's not possible, and just focus on the positive and focus on the people who really support me, surround myself by people who are going to continue to support me. Like yourself, you're always been there for me. So people, it's about who you surround yourself with. So make sure you surround yourself by those people who are really going to push you and really believe in you, because that matters.
So if I learn Spanish, will your mom give me like notes in my text messages so to motivate me and inspire me to do stuff? Or is it just you? Is it?
No, we're a big family. We're a big familia. You're already my primo, so you're welcome.
I love it.
Carne asadas. You're invited to next carne asadas. Don't worry.
Yeah. Just say food, and I'm there.
Okay.
As they say, panza time, right? That's all about the going. But 2020, we're almost done. We almost made it, Leslie. Right? It's been crazy. Kavik and Leslie launched, sure, but like, what has the biggest change been for you, shifting from the world pre-pandemic, I guess, from anything else to now, as far as you as a person, you as an adult, you just taking on the big city? What has changed the most?
I think the whole adult part. Yeah, I hate the fact like I don't want to grow up. I was never one to rush to grow up. And then being in college, you're still in the sense of being in a routine. I've always been the type of person to be in a routine. So while in college, I was like working and then going to class and then still doing afterbuzz and trying to do three things at the same time. And I manage well. And the more I do, the more energy I have. So kind of with the pandemic is like that stopped. All my opportunities stopped. So kind of refocusing on myself and really thinking about, I never had that question in the sense of like, am I really going to do this? Should I keep going? Yeah. Actually, maybe I did once AfterBuzz kind of shut down because I'm like,
hiatus.
Yeah. Like, how am I going to go back? Like where that was I felt safe there. But then it was a big lesson for me to don't settle, keep growing, keep moving. So I think that was the biggest lesson in regards to this whole pandemic is to keep going. I found a way to kind of get back into media. I also took a job where at first it seemed like a great opportunity and then they were taking advantage of me as an employee in the sense of like I was working, but not getting anything in return. So then it was like, okay, take a step back, reflect. What is your worth as an employee and as a person? So I've learned a lot in the sense of like, I've grown as an individual and as an adult, kind of accepting all these changes, especially with the pandemic, kind of focusing back on my career choice, still being able to do Café con Leslie, but at the same time, finding a job in the industry where I need to grow my skill set. So,
well, I mean, that's also important, but I mean, you as a person though, like, because you lived through this, you worked, but I mean, like, how do your spiritual side, your relationship side, your fitness side, how does that affect it?
I think overall with my health, I've struggled a lot with my health. I've had health issues. One of the biggest things recently was I was in a car accident 2 years ago, and till this day, I wasn't feeling good. I was always moody. Working at Starbucks is a lot physically, so kind of learning to take care of myself, whether that's my physical health and my mental health as well. I struggled a lot with anxiety before. When I wasn't getting these opportunities, I would get so anxious and really feel like it was the end of the world. And then when literally the end of the world, it didn't happen, but pretty much close enough.
Fair enough. Yeah. We're all stuck inside. So
I kind of like refocused on myself. And to me, the pandemic was kind of like the best thing that happened to me because I now am more focused on my health in the sense of like your mental health and your physical well-being will always come first. The jobs will come and go. But if I'm not okay physically and mentally, then there's no way that I will be able to succeed in a job or just in life or be able to enjoy being with my family because I would catch myself just being in such a bad mood and for no reason. And that was because I wasn't feeling good. So it was like just taking care of myself in that sense of like, I do come first. I tend to put other people first a lot. So learning to be selfish is just really hard for me. It's weird, but I've always been such a
you're in the wrong city, Leslie.
I've always been such a people person where I've always like, if my mom's sick and I'm in LA, I'll drop everything just to go take care of her. If like my brother's having a bad day, I'll make sure to drop everything to make sure that he feels better. But then I forget about myself. And then I let their problems affect me when at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with me. So kind of taking a step back and really realizing like you matter, you can help other people, but that doesn't mean their problems are yours. So kind of separating that.
Yeah, I say Dylan Matthews agrees with me. Being non-selfish in LA, that ain't right. I know.
Well, that's why I'm still from San Diego. No way. Like, I don't lose that.
Speaking of that, Derek Fisher says, love the t-shirt, Leslie. Team 619 all day, every day.
Every day.
I suppose.
Yes. Shout out to Derek Fisher.
Buika 619. Yeah. Well, Rey Mysterio's on SmackDown now. The WWE draft. Look, he's there. He's a legend, I guess.
God, you're still a hater. I thought after this whole time you would change your opinion, but you're not.
What did I say that was hateful? I said nothing hateful. I said
your attitude changed. I know you.
How dare you perceive my body language as accurate? Is Rey Mysterio your favorite wrestler of all time? Where does he rank if he's not?
In regards to like the men, yes, just because of like
Whatever.
there was never, for me, representation is a huge thing. So what other superstar did you see from San Diego wearing Chargers gear, 619, always going to the arenas, and it was like a huge thing when you were in San
Yeah.
Diego. So I connected with Rey Mysterio all the time, and he was like the only like Latin figure that was always there in WWE, and that he's never lost that. He's always been so consistent. So yeah, Rey Mysterio's the guy. I hope to one day meet him. That's the goal. I'm sure in the future it will happen.
I feel like you should have met him like at a Walmart or something. He's like always in San Diego. Like that's weird.
Well, I'm not from like San Diego, like the city of San Diego. San Diego's huge. Like LA is huge. So you know how there's like the valley and stuff. I'm from like North County and a small city of San Marcos. So yeah,
It
I'm
could be
like
worse.
far from San Diego, San Diego. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day.
Yeah, I think one time I made a San Diego joke that only I knew because I was a tourist. Oh, because if you guys don't know this, the slogan for the city of San Diego is America's finest city. So
I
the
had
police
no
department
idea.
literally says America's finest the police department. You're like, wait, says who? So I was totally ragging on it. No, I like Rey Mysterio. I just think it was kind of fun that time when Raw just saying he was a heel because look, he does good things, but the way this super long storyline that's still kind of technically going, you can sit there and interpret it as Rey Mysterio getting bad. That's all.
I'm not gonna lie, the storyline has been way too long. I'm ready for it to end. A lot of storylines right now are way too long, especially this one. I think since we were still doing after shows, we've been talking about this, so I'm kind of ready to move forward.
Fair enough. If you were a luchador, what would your name be?
Ooh, that's hard.
So many options.
I know. I would say I love the whole La Profesora kind of gimmick. I feel like I would love to be a teacher.
Coming down the road with a ruler. Like, yeah.
Like, listen to me with the ruler. And that's really used in Mexico, by the way.
Oh yeah, I can imagine because I guess my parents were growing up like you used to get beat in school, but then if you got beat in school, they would tell your parents and they beat you again for embarrassing them at school.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's just a different time for everyone. Rey Mysterio, the best luchador of all time, was starting tonight on Raw. Meh. For your favorite female wrestler, I'm just curious. Is it the Bellas? Is it the Bella Twins?
yeah, I love the Bellas. The Bellas have, I don't know. It's something about the Bellas. Also, I think they have that connection with San Diego. They were always there too. So I don't know. It's just a lot of people don't like the Bellas, but I feel like they're so real, especially after reading their book. It's like, wow, they have so many similarities and I can connect to them. So yeah. The Bellas are definitely one of my top.
I don't quite get it either way. Like I don't understand the hate, but I don't quite understand the fandom either. They're just kind of there. You know, maybe because you know what it was? I think I told this to Brian. We had our women's wrestling show on Capcom Leslie, which you still see now. It's available there. Check it out. Mm-hmm. It was like I felt like they did the twin magic thing for so long that it was hard to insult my intelligence. Like Nikki's obviously the same. She's like 10 pounds heavier. Are you kidding me? Like so, I kind of like wrote them off as an act. But I don't like get on I don't understand the hate of them. People say they suck. It's like, I don't think that.
If you read their book, you'll understand that they actually wanted to be different and go their own way like a while back. But, you know, WWE loves to push the whole twin thing. So it was kind of a WWE thing. But then that's the problem where I feel like we lose interest in these wrestlers because of these long storylines that don't really make sense anymore.
Yeah,
Dylan.
I have to agree. I think but that's the whole other thing because really, what does the Hall of Fame mean? Yeah. I feel the same way too about MVP. I remember him saying that he wanted to cut his braids way back his first run of SmackDown, back when cornrows were no longer cool, and WWE was like, "Your likeness is that important. We have video games, we have action figures. You can't cut it." And I always remember that being like, once you find a style that works, you can like change your gear or whatever. You really can't. Like you can't have Ricochet coming out with like a blonde beard out of nowhere unless it's a concentrated effort.
But, and honestly, after watching Total Divas, like the first couple seasons, you even see that they can't even change their hair color without getting approval. Now that's a little bit crazy to me. Like, no.
I got a question, and this might be a little bit too personal, but like, I'm sure you dyed your hair different color at some point in your life,
Yeah.
right? Do you have like a certain set of colors you go, this works for me? Or do you walk into there one time and be like, I'm going this one? I ask because I have no hair. I'm just curious. I
Oh
don't
my
know how that
God.
works. But like you
Well,
go like, I'm trying blue this week, you know?
I've never been that adventurous. I have actually kept my hair color. It's always been really dark. This is kind of like my natural. Till I was about 19. That's
Yeah.
the first time that I ever dyed my hair. And funny because I don't know, this might be just what I notice. A lot of girls who have dark hair want to go light. A lot of girls who have light hair want to go dark. So of course,
Yeah.
I wanted the blonde, and I went for the blonde, and I really liked it. But
Yeah.
it really damaged my hair, and it was a totally different look. I felt like it was a whole different Leslie, because I don't know. I just felt great because I was different for a little bit. But then it damaged my hair too much, and I was like, just go back to your normal. But I feel great either way. But it was pretty cool to kind of do something different for once.
When I was a kid, I wanted to do like the Dennis Rodman, like the purple or like the blue with a little swirl in it, and
Yeah.
I just never pulled the trigger on it. And that's why when something comes up to your brain in life, go for it because I don't even have the option anymore.
Pretty much.
And I was like, well, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So we're heading towards the end of the year, and first things first. Next month, about 2 weeks, we are voting for a brand new president or a retweet of a president of the United States. I guess the Trump second term might be the other option there. I'm not going to ask you who you voted for because that's that kind of show. But I want to ask you, have you voted already? And what was your experience doing so?
Well, I have my ballot. I'm going home this weekend to San Diego because I still vote from San Diego County, even though I live in LA now. So I'm doing that this upcoming weekend. That's on my to-do list. So please, guys, please make sure to vote. I feel like this past, I'm not big into politics because I feel like it's very draining. It's very mentally draining. And it's a lot for me because a lot of those topics are really personal and they hit home a lot. So I try not to dive too much into it because it makes me like really uncomfortable and emotional because I've kind of seen the reality, especially on this whole past 4 years.
Sure.
You've seen the attack of my people a lot recently, and it's really hard. So all I can say is please vote, do the right thing. As a human being, I feel like we all should have morals and know our morals. So I'm definitely nervous for this next term because we don't know what's going to happen, and to see all this kind of affect my family especially, and you have this fear. I have the privilege to have been born here, and I fear for my family a lot, and I sometimes I have fears that, or like I end up like bringing myself down for being born here when again I was not in control of that.
Sure.
But I wish I could, if I could, like help out my family members in the sense of like, I'll give you my privileges because I want to help you, and I feel like I'm okay. I really want to help someone else. So yeah, it's please vote. Please vote, please vote, please vote. That's all I can say. You'll know who to vote for. I'm not here to like argue with anyone about who they should vote for and why, but at least everyone can kind of see or really knows after these past 4 years like the reality.
Is this your first time voting in a presidential election or your second? I can't tell.
No, this is my second.
Second, okay. Well, this is my first time, and I'm way older than you are, and I always stood out. Actually, before I go into that, Dylan Matthews says the coverage we're getting here in Australia about the elections, about World War III is about to go down. It's already here, bro. No, I say this is my first time voting in an election.
Oh, really?
And trust me, as a man of color, as a black man, I've been pulled aside many a time by people who tell me it's my responsibility. My ancestors or my previous generations have fought and personally died for the right to vote, and to not vote is an affront to them. And I don't think I disagreed. I just felt like if I think going into a magic box can change the world, then so be it. Because at the time, it didn't really matter. Like I was, a young, fresh-faced college graduate with dreams of grandeur. Like who cares about the farm subsidies in Kansas? So I didn't vote at all. But I do think of what's happened this year, and having two candidates are so different and their approach to what's better for the country, it's almost like you cannot not choose. Like it isn't like a year where it's like, I'm kind of mad about both of them. Whatever. Like they're just so different. Like they're just so different. You got to pick one. And so I did it. I did. Thankfully, California does the mail-in ballots. I turned it around in 12 hours. I just did. And so hopefully President Kanye wins. No, I'm kidding.
Shut up, no, because some people will take you seriously. Don't even say that.
Well, he's a vice president of California, so it's not even possible. I agree. Go out there and vote.
Honestly, like these past 4 years, it was a huge reality check for me. Like, whoa, this is really the country that I live in. Like, I didn't know a lot of these things could happen. Or how much of an influence a president can really make, especially in these past 4 years. So I'm like, wow, this is definitely the time. And I feel like a lot of people kind of woke up. Last election, it was like, no, like whatever, it is what it is. But now, after seeing everything that happened with all the movements and kind of people got a reality check, so I think people are really going to go out and vote. So please vote.
Yeah, it says here 25 million ballots have already been cast, and that's like a good 2 times more than it was before, which is nuts. Yeah,
it's crazy.
So after that stuff is November, we have the holidays. You know, we gotta survive 2020 together. Like we're all going to band together, get a giant Zoom call and celebrate. I know it's going to be different this year with the whole pandemic and everything, but what does the holidays look like for Leslie? Are you a resolutions person? You just eat and sleep? Like, what is your approach?
I am not a resolutions person. I know you
are.
No
one is. No, I'm the only person who is. I swear. Okay. Go ahead. It's fine.
I heard your interview with the Max, and I love their take on like the only person we know is Flobito. Who
it's so true. It's so true. I have 2 solution lists, one for my life and one for the year. So.
Oh yeah, I'm not much of a resolution. I'm more of like the holidays are huge. It's always been, especially in my household. So we always have great food. It's always about the food and the presents. I know it shouldn't be about the presents, but I am the baby of the family. So
what about love, harmony, togetherness, Dios, Jesus Cristo? Nothing. You're like, yeah, presents. That's what I'm all about.
Okay, now that you say Jesucristo, I do have to say Jesucristo because my grandma does not let us enjoy Christmas without having like a rosary and like a prayer. So we must do that. And before, especially in like our household, we always need to do that. So yeah. Sure. And sorry, you're right. Sorry, Abuelita, it is Jesus. Jesus comes first.
I got you covered. Don't worry about it, Leslie. We're good.
But yeah, it's more about like the fun. Especially with like my immediate family, we love to have fun. My siblings and I, especially with my mom. So we always look forward to like karaoke. We love karaoke, dancing, and just it's been a really long time. Honestly, there's been a lot of fallouts where my whole entire family, like my mom's side, which is who I mostly have a connection with and who I have contact with because I don't have any like I don't talk to my dad's side, if that makes sense, because I was raised by a single mom. So I only have like my mom's side of the family. And it's always like we used to have really great Christmases where we would all come together and just enjoy each other and enjoy karaoke and music and food and tamales and, you know, ponche and champurrado, all the good stuff. Yeah. But recently, these past couple of years, everyone's kind of had their own personal issues where we've never really had that. So, and being a family person, it really hurt me in the sense of like, I miss being with all my cousins. I miss that unity that we used to have. And I really hope that this year, especially after this whole pandemic, that we kind of come together and really realize that family does matter. And I just miss the holidays being united.
Well, it's funny because Haywood Wong is like Flo's in that Christmas party. I don't really celebrate the holidays anymore. I'm not a hater of the holidays. I hate Thanksgiving. I hate Thanksgiving with a passion. I can't stand it. I think it's dumb.
Oh yeah, you told me that last year.
I think it's dumb. I can't stand it. But like Christmas is something that I unfortunately haven't been able to go home to visit my family for whatever reason, most likely the snow. So I'm usually up here. I don't really do much, and the town leaves. It's like a ghost town, but I like the holidays. New Year's Day is my favorite holiday of the year. I love it. New Year's Eve is where I write all of my resolutions.
That's why you have resolutions.
Yeah. You know, the problem, I said this on the podcast with the Max too on New Amsterdam Radio. The problem with resolutions is people give these giant vague ones. They fail, and instead of being like, maybe I should improve as a person, it's like resolutions suck. Like I'm gonna lose weight. How?
Yes, it's always that. Like, I'm gonna lose weight. I'm gonna lose weight. That's always everyone's resolution. So I'm
my
like,
resolution was to eat fish once a week, and that's so doable. Like,
oh my god.
Sushi Fridays. We got some questions for you here in the chat. Derek Fisher adds back to wrestling. He goes, "How did you get to be a wrestling fan, Leslie?"
Well, good question. I did grow up, like, one of my cousins, he would always watch it. I grew up with all of my cousins being together because we literally all lived in the same apartment complex. So if I was not home, I was at my grandma's house. If I wasn't at my grandma's house, I was at my aunt's house. And all of my cousins were always together. So, like, the older cousin, who, shout out to my cousin Alexis, he got into wrestling for a little bit. And, you know, you always follow, like, what everyone's doing. So I started watching wrestling, I think when I was around 10 or 11, but I never really got too into it. John Cena was always someone big who I always liked.
I forgot you were younger than I am.
But I didn't really actually start watching wrestling like full on SmackDown, Raw, NXT till, I know you guys might hate this, Total Diva started, but it kind of gave me a different perspective because I'm always about the story. So I've always wanted to know kind of the behind the scenes. And I really connected with the women in the sense of, like, they struggled a lot. I connected in the sense of, like, they would get cut in WrestleMania, and you don't really see that on Raw or SmackDown. So that kind of made me really start watching wrestling full on. And it was honestly because of the reality show that I started really watching wrestling, watching Raw, SmackDown, and it wasn't until I watched Bayley and Sasha in a TakeOver Brooklyn match that my whole perspective for women's wrestling changed, in the sense of I respect women's wrestling like no other. And it was literally because of those two women. I'll never forget this, that I cried over that match because it was just so empowering and so beautiful to see two women killing it out there.
So when the Bellas got announced at the Hall of Fame, I think that was why I made my peace with it. Because, like, Total Bellas brought so many new people into the genre. And, of course, Bayley, #1 female wrestler on the
always a Bayley fan.
I went hard for Bayley. I always say this story the night they called me Heel Bito, which is me defending Bayley. And now I bought 2 copies because I want people to know that when you pick my pony, I ride to the end. Bayley is #1. Haywood Wong asks Leslie, where do you want the next 5 years? You can't say food. No, I'm just kidding, because I love carne asada and tamales.
For myself, or
I guess, like, where do you see yourself? Well, don't say like Pasmaniana, but I mean, like, what do you want? Like,
in the next 5 years? That's a hard question. I definitely want to be in, like, a stable job, if that makes sense, within the media industry. So one of my main goals was to always either work in entertainment. Obviously, being in front of the camera, that would be amazing. But I would love to be either, my end goal is to work for either the NFL, WWE, or entertainment, doing, like, premios for Spanish networks like Univision or Telemundos. I don't think that can happen in 5 years because this road takes a really long time. But in 5 years, yeah, I don't know. It's really hard. I would like to be in a relationship maybe in 5 years. So
yeah, we all want to be loved and respected.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, career-wise, I'm not sure. But in 5 years, I want to be better with my health. I feel like I need to really make that push. Maybe that'll be my resolution this year, to start working out. Like,
no one likes resolutions.
But that's a hard one. But I definitely in 5 years want to grow more as a person and be able to be more independent than I am now.
Well, Charlene has a 3-part question. She says, what is your impression of Heel Bito? I'm not sure that means me now or like the character of Heel Bito that everyone gave me, even though I'm not a heel. And Heel Jim.
Ooh. How am I going to compare both of them? Well,
you can take one has to be the other. And it's an open show. Jim's a fan of the show. He can take it. I can take it. You're not going to remove from his chat button. No,
I don't mind Heel Bito because I know at the end of the day, Heel Bito has a big heart. You guys might not know that, but he really does. Even though he says he doesn't, he does. I can see through that, through his heelness. Heel Jim, I don't know about that one. He's very set in his ways, and there's no way arguing with that man. So, Heel Jim is Heel Jim. I've learned to accept who he is.
I was one of the things that people don't understand about Jim is that it's not a character. It's not like he's like saying like, okay, guys, now I'm a heel. That is him about cars, The Bachelor, wrestling. Like that's him all the time. So yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, I learned that pretty early on when I met Heel Jim, was that he's set in his ways, and that's just who he is. So I never take anything he said personal. That's just him.
And Charlene asks me, she says, what's my first impression of Leslie? I hated her. Couldn't stand Leslie. She was terrible. I was like, no, it's not. I think one of the cool things about AfterBuzz, and even if AfterBuzz came back, they can never do it again because there was so many bodies in that small studio. Was like the nights there were wrestling shows. It kind of was like college that way. You go there, show up, talk to people, and Wednesday night we had like the dual screens of AEW and NXT going, and then someone go, "Oh snap!" But like Mondays was fun because like, you know, you had the Spanish show at the time. And so you were there early, like being all dedicated to your craft. You know what I mean? Whereas like I first had a day job, so I had to like drive up there. But like you and Jack were there and it became like a little like fun club. Like it was like a line between those who treated the after shows as if they were like work in a good way, and those who kind of showed up and did their thing. I'm not naming names, even like I totally can. And so that kind of grew like almost a little club. They would go and get like stuff from 7-Eleven. We would try to teach Jack words in Spanish. We try to watch things back. So for the Spanish show and the day we did the crossover, I went to the Spanish Raw. I made an ass of myself. That was because we're just loosey goosey with each other. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got along pretty quickly. I think because again, it was that. Yes, we're serious about it, but at the same time, we like to have fun. I remember we did the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and that was my first ever pay-per-view. That was the first time I ever got to talk about wrestling. I was so nervous, and I was like, I'm sitting next to this guy who's like so good, and I have George on the other hand, where he's like knows everything about wrestling, and I'm just here like all quiet, nervous. Like, how are the fans gonna react to me? Because wrestling fans can be very honest. I was really nervous you guys weren't gonna like me, but you guys are all so nice to me. Shout out to Dylan, shout out to Haywood, shout out to Derek, shout out to all you loyal people who literally have been there for me since the beginning.
It's funny because we all feel the way about George Hermosa. We would say either there's different reasons, but like George Hermosa is the best like wrestling historian, and like Steve Kaufman is like the best wrestling business person, and everyone's just dumb compared to those two guys. So I totally got that feeling. But I started working with George when I got Jack on. When Jack was on, and there was no spots for a new co-host on Raw. I said, go to George. He needs people and bodies, and I was like, there's no way you can compete with George in anything wrestling related. I don't know if he like just went one day and downloaded the library into his brain. I don't know if he watched a bunch of hours of wrestling, but for me, I went to film school, so like even though people love stories, for me it was always the characters. Like I can take bad storytelling if the characters are great. That's why I love it. To me, wrestling is Shakespearean theater in the round for the masses. So that's why I was always about it. So if someone had a different perspective, like Emily May had a different perspective, Jack had one, TK had one, it was always, okay, cool, let's get together and see how we can talk about people in tights doing headlocks. So that was always pretty fun. Shout out to JLJ Media, the hardest working man in the biz, James Lott Jr. Leslie, if you don't know this guy, 45 billion shows. I watched him go live 6 times on Sunday. I was like, what?
I'm reading the comments here, and he said he's never met me, but he's heard of me. But he's actually has met me. He probably doesn't remember this, and I do remember this. I was an intern at AfterBuzz. Yeah, I was an intern at AfterBuzz. Oh, George, really? Yep, that's George for you. Anyways, I was an intern at AfterBuzz, and like they introduced. They introduced me to him, and I remember because I always saw him doing a whole bunch of stuff there. He was always doing so much, and I asked him this question: how do you balance family and career? And I'll never forget this answer because it really stuck with me, and because I was always trying to find that answer, and he told me, you don't. He's like, your family either understands that you can't make it to a birthday party because you have an event, and you also prioritize your career because that is your career. So that always stuck with me. You might not remember me, but I clearly remember that conversation and that word of advice from you. So shout out to you because I do remember.
You don't know what you done did. You're gonna get invited to 25 billion shows about shows you didn't watch. Derek Fisher asked, "Can Leslie come back every Monday? What's up, Flobo?" Well, first of all, La Prima always has an invitation to What's Up, Flobo. She can come whenever she wants to, but she has 25 jobs.
Episode 16 that I was invited, so whatever.
Oh, what do you mean? You can always come through to What's Up. Anything that my name is on, you are part of the family. Like, I'm just saying. And Derek Fisher says, I hate Sasha's character. I don't hate Sasha's character. She just needs to improve it, like, or change it up. Charlotte looks kind of stale, but she took a break. Sasha needs a break, is all I'm saying. Charlotte says she misses AfterBuzz, and sometimes I do too.
Sometimes I do too.
Those microphones were pretty on point. I sound a lot more Walter Cronkite with those microphones. Mm-hmm. And JLJ Media says, oh my gosh, I like something I would say. You know what? Since we're talking about JLJ Media, I have a story about James Lott Jr., and he can't stop me because he's not in the chat room. So if he's like a human tornado, right? Because he comes in and he has like 25 shows, and one particular day, they were launching a Christmas network at AfterBuzz, which is a cool idea in theory, but like they had a whole network for black shows no one cared about, so they just had to do another channel, whatever. Anyway, but James Lott Jr. had a couple Christmas shows on this Christmas network. So imagine me sitting in the lounge, and out comes just like this whirlwind of like Christmas materials in this bag, and just James being like, you know, James Lott Jr., I got this show, that show, that show, that show, that show, that show. And I'm like, this guy, it has the energy I want at that age. Because seriously, I do one thing and I want a nap. My friends think I hustle all the time. I sleep all the time. You know what I'm saying? So you imagine, and James doesn't, I mean, I got to pull the T. He doesn't drive. So his day starts way before everyone else's. So he gets in the Uber and goes all the way to AfterBuzz, does 45 billion shows, does his own stuff, has a side gig or a main gig, drives back to his spot, and he's there chilling at night being like, welcome to my live stream. Like, nothing's going on. I'm like,
hey, that's inspirational right there.
I know, man. And that's why I watched him on Sunday. I'm like, I feel tired because I did 2 hours of casting, and this guy is going 51 years old. He was also a guest of the show. And Haywood Wong says, first time I saw James was polite and intelligent. Yeah, that's par for the course. Now, Leslie, I know people are watching this right now. They're inspired by your story. They love the fact that you love the Malays and your mama. Any kind of advice for anyone who's kind of the beginning of their journey, was afraid to jump, was afraid to have their Cafe Con Marco, whatever show they're working on? Any advice for them?
Honestly, again, I am never going to stop saying this. It matters like who you surround yourself with. If I didn't surround myself with Flobita, who always pushed me, Prima, just do it. Literally do it. Just record yourself. If you need anyone, I'll be your test run, which he was. Like, I was so nervous because I tend to really, you're going to have mistakes. You're going to have failure. It happened to me. It's still up on my YouTube channel. There's so many times where I think about it like, oh, I want to delete it so bad. But no, it's a learning experience. So it's a process. I'm learning this myself to have patience, especially because, again, I am only 23 years old, and I feel like I should accomplish so much by, like, my age. But
rubbing it in. I'm only 23.
Not even that, but I feel like a lot of even, like, the people that I went to college with, they always come to me for advice. And I'm like, why do they come to me for advice when I feel like I still have so much to figure out? But it's honestly because I keep surrounding myself with people who motivate me. I literally listen to inspirational quotes or messages sometimes, and I take a step back. So it's okay if it doesn't happen overnight. I'm learning this right now. This is the advice I'm giving to myself as well, because you finish college and it's not easy. You think you're going to have a job right away. You think life is easy, but it's not. It's a work in progress. But if you really believe in yourself and you really keep fighting for your dreams, like I am, it doesn't matter what your family says. It doesn't matter what the fans say. It's really, if you stick to what you believe in, you'll make it happen. And that's one thing where I've never lost hope. I keep fighting for my dreams, and I'll always fight for my dreams. My mom always says that I'm a fighter, I'm a guerrera, because I literally always like fight for everything, no matter whether like my health has stopped me or anything like that. I keep going. So keep fighting. Surround yourself by people who are going to motivate you, and it will happen. You'll get like those moments are undescribable once you get to accomplish one little thing. For example, for me, it was like being on my first show afterwards. I did not say one word, but to me, like to hear my family, my mom, and for everyone to sit in the living room, to put the YouTube channel on just to literally watch me not even talk, like that meant the world to me. And to keep seeing my mom like telling me that she's proud of me, seeing my siblings telling me that they're proud of me, that they're never going to stop believing in me, no matter how many times I fall, I'm going to keep going. Yeah, that's all you have to do. So yeah, those are my inspirational words. Keep going, and it's a journey, but it'll be worth it.
Is there anything you do as a tip or trick when you're lacking that hope? Are you like a meditation person, prayer, movie, like anything that you do to get you out of those funks that we all have as creatives?
Yeah, for me, honestly, what works a lot for me, and while I was dealing with my anxiety when it came to my career, I like to go to the beach and just stop and breathe. I have to remind myself to breathe. The beach is like my happy place. And honestly, going to Mexico too every year, it humbles me because I am so privileged here to have 10 pairs of shoes, to have all the clothes that I have, that when I come back from Mexico, I literally just want to cry and throw everything away, because sometimes we complain so much about what we don't have here when there's people over there who don't even have hot water, who are so happy. Like when I take to my cousins one pair of shoes and they're forever thankful, like it's the biggest gift that you can give them. When here sometimes we complain about the smallest things. So just humble yourself in the sense of like, remind yourself that you're not all that bad, that you still have a great life. So just those little reminders. Going to Mexico honestly was a very humbling experience for me, because they don't have much over there, but they still live so free. They're still so happy, and they don't need to have 10 pairs of shoes, 100 pairs of clothes, Nike, Adidas, whatever it is, for them to be happy. So just find your happy place, because that's definitely my happy place.
I'm still looking for my happy place. Well, up until the pandemic, it was Vegas, but I can't go right now. That'd be a bad idea. Leslie, I just want to say thank you so much for coming in. Wassup Flobo After Hours. See, it wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't. I was nervous, guys. I was nervous.
Yeah, she was nervous.
My stomach was hurting. I don't know why, because, well, one, I know why. I'm not a fan of StreamYard, sorry, but that's where everything happened. And I was like, Flobito, I'm so nervous. I don't want to screw this up, but it was great. I missed you guys. Thank you for always like connecting and all your positive words. I love it. And George, yes, you're the genius. I'll admit it.
Man, if I knew he was in the chat, I wouldn't have been so positive. I feel bad.
I know.
Pito! Where can I follow you, become one of your fans, your newsletter, your website? Tell me everything. Leslie Colon.
Yeah, so you can follow me at Leslie Colon _ on Twitter, on Instagram, and make sure you subscribe to my new YouTube channel, Café con Leslie. You can find it at youtube.com/Leslie Colon. And then also my website is coming. I'm working on it right now. It will be just lesliecolon.com. So big things coming. Primo, I just want to tell you thank you so much for always having me, always believing in me, always being there for me. I'm so thankful to have met you, and yeah, you're obviously my family. So thank you for having me on your amazing show.
And this kayfabe's over. It takes a lot. No, in all seriousness, it takes a lot to in this world to want to create for a reason, not just for the fame, not just for the whatever, because yes, I started going to AfterBuzz because I wanted to be booked as a comedian, but like as this grew, talking with people and doing after shows, shows I love, I learned so much. So especially as a person of color, someone who's young, someone that does it because you love to do it, and you're not an asshole, that means the world to me, because we need more people who are not jerks on with platforms. A lot of jerks already have megaphones. We need good people who are doing things. But I don't want to be all that sappy. It's about time I get out of here, because I'm heel Beto and all that jazz.
He has a big heart.
No, I don't. It's a heart of stone. Until next week, man, tell a friend about the show, Wassup Flobo. If you're on Twitch right now, please like it. Please follow, and we'll see you next time.